Welcome to Built, Trusted, Chosen, the podcast for leaders and marketers in trades and construction, hosted by Wes Towers from Uplift 360.
Okay, g'day. It's fantastic to have Jared Kemp on the show today, although I think I might have to cancel it. He's just told me he's a Collingwood supporter, so we'll see how things pan out with all that. For those internationally, Collingwood is a AFL footy team, and you either love them or hate them. So it's
That was off the record.
Yeah. So, but Jared, I'm really looking forward to this show. There's a bunch of things you're involved in, which we can unpack. Hopefully, we can cover a lot in 30 or so minutes. But if you could just introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you're up to these days.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Wes. My name's Jared Kemp. I'm a residential / commercial builder for RedKem Constructions. That's a company we started 14 years ago, and carpenter by trade. Loving it. Not on the tools anymore. Haven't been for a long time. So sort of in the business side of the business now, and also have a software, a estimating software for homeowners and builders called Before You Build too. So
yeah, brilliant. And was it just to rewind to when you started the business? Was it always your intention to get off the tools and have, I guess, more of an overseeing role in the company, or how did you feel about that? So I know guys are really keen to stay on the tools. They love what they do, and they love seeing the work that that their hands have made. But how did you sort of see all that?
it's a funny question. Wes, I was talking to a couple of my guys on site yesterday about this, and I think every carpenter's dream at some point is to get off the tools and become a builder. And then sort of when you're in the mix of it, the conversation I had was because I'm building my own house myself, chucking the nail bag back on is a lot less stressful than some of the some of the stuff you go through as a builder. That's for sure.
Yeah. Some hard lessons learned some of the time, and some things outside of our control sometimes. Things
That's
as a
right.
founder-led business, I mean, we don't have business training as such. We just got to learn on the fly and do our best, and we don't know what we don't know. Was that kind of
Exactly.
your experience? You didn't have much business sort of training as such? Or? Yeah.
Definitely was. Yeah, I was actually 21 when I started the building company, so I was really
wow.
I finished school early. I finished school, and I was already a school-based apprentice. So by then, I think I'd actually had my apprenticeship finished by the time I was 18, 19, and at that point, I jumped straight into my builder's course. So I had my Cert 4 by the time I was 20. And at that point, there wasn't a great deal of that. Would have been in sort of 2013-ish, 2012, 2013 when I finished. There wasn't a great deal of sort of good work around or opportunities around at that sort of early stage. I was working for my parents, and we were kind of just doing bits and bobs here and there. And I sort of bit the bullet and sort of had everything in place, had a couple of builds lined up, and just ripped the Band-Aid off, a nice young naive 21-year-old, and started a building company and haven't looked back. So
yeah, brilliant. And it's the only way we start. I think it's kind of like having kids. Have you got kids yourself?
I've got 2 girls. Yes, probably. I don't know what's harder, actually.
Yeah, but the if you ever calculated the cost in which a child costs you over over their life cycle of being under your roof and even beyond, no one would have kids if they knew the cost. But we go in naively, and I think we go into business sometimes naively, but it's the most rewarding things you can do. I think to start a business,
Absolutely.
obviously the financial reward, but the personal rewards of building something that's that'll last as well. But you're building out. I'm pretty interested to unpack some of the software, the estimating side of things. How's that all work, and what do you see the future of estimating these days?
So we kind of seen a bit of a gap in the market in 2020.
Yeah.
The building process at the moment for a builder, a homeowner, and a designer collectively is the homeowner goes to the designer or the architect. They get their plans drawn up. The plans are finalised. They send them to a builder to price. The builder prices them, can spend months, with the client at that point in time. The client spent a lot of money to find out they just cannot afford to build. That is just until now, of course, there was no way of going, like, how much is this actually going to cost the homeowner first, before they go and invest $10,000+ on plans to design up their dream home. There was no way of actually being able to find out how much that's going to cost. So we developed this tool. Initially, it was actually for homeowners. We developed the tool so that they could assess their project costs before they talk to a builder or before they actually meet with a designer. So they can kind of go through their dream, pick architectural finishes, do whatever they need to do, and kind of get that, that that budget smack in the face straight away before investing all of that time and money. And it worked. So we started developing that in 2020. We got to about, what would have been 2 years ago, 2 years ago, 2024. And we got to, I think, 15,000 members we had in the software itself. And they were purely, as I said, it was purely developed for homeowners to try and give them that budget estimated. But we kind of went through all the members, and probably 25 to 30% of them were actually builders using the tool.
Wow. Yeah.
And we jumped on and started calling a few of the builders I actually knew. I was like, hey guys, I see you're using, before you build, our pricing tool. What are you using it for? It's designed for homeowners. And they said, we actually use it now to pre-qualify our clients before we meet with them. So one, that they're not spending months and months of work pricing projects, and there's quite a lot of design and construct building companies too. So they're not spending months, 6 to 12 months designing and working with the client on projects that are just never going to be built, and resources that they've kind of put into projects that they'll never get back. So after receiving that amount of advice, or not advice, but kind of market, just kind of hearing back from the market, we actually developed a new model where builders can brand and embed the tool into their website and actually use it as like a lead capture tool. So it was already really simple to use, like homeowners could use it. So we just created a model that is fully branded. Builders embedded in their website, it becomes a lead capture tool, and it becomes a pre-qualification tool. So homeowners always want an immediate sense of budget. So like for them to basically give their details over to use the tool, go through the process of using the tool, the builders all of a sudden got this highly qualified lead based on budget without even talking to them on the phone yet.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Yeah, being a web guy and a bit of a geek as well. It's so powerful if you can provide true value as your lead magnet. The problem, back in the day, we could get away with having a dodgy little ebook to gather leads, and people would give their email and phone number and whatnot. But now we know it's not really free. It's coming at a cost and that cost is our privacy. And the value of our privacy, we're all valuing that much more than we ever did. And also the basic ebook. You can get that information just jumping on ChatGPT and getting out, spitting out that kind of stuff. So it needs to be a higher level. So what you've got is providing massive value to the homeowner who's got no idea what it's going to cost. Right. They just want a rough idea if it's even worth having a conversation. So I love it. Exactly, that's so good. Yeah.
It's highly effective.
Yeah, I can. So how do you charge it out? Is it the builders who are using it? Is it kind of a
It's a monthly
subscription model?
subscription fee. Yeah, so we've
Yeah.
got a few levels of packages, and it depends on how much the builder's going to use it, the size of the company, etc. Like
Right.
we got tweaks in the back end that we can set, like change the pricing in the back end for particular builders and show particular projects that they want to build. Like some do renos, some do extensions, some do new homes. Some do
Yeah.
architectural work and don't want to show budget finishes. Some do budget finishes and don't want to show architectural finishes. It's fully
Yeah.
like we can fully adjust the tool based on the builder's business. Um, and yeah, adjust the pricing, etc. We actually have some
Yeah.
designers using it too. A smaller number of designers, but we do
Yeah.
have designers that basically, as a part of their design process, they'll bring clients in, sit them down, ask them their brief, and because it only takes about 2 minutes to get best of it. Basically, put
Yeah.
that brief into the pricing tool and say, all right, well, this is roughly what you'd be looking at. Should we proceed with the design based on that? Or
Yeah.
do we want to make some tweaks and actually design this to your budget before we start?
Yeah, yeah. I love it. There's a just rattling through my brain a few clients who I reckon could benefit massively. So we'll have a conversation
Yeah.
after the
So,
podcast to see how we can make an introduction. What about things a little left of field? So there's a client who's doing um the what do you call them? The rooming houses. The with the it's a massive house with lots of bathrooms and bedrooms. Can
yeah.
they can all be tailored around those sorts of things too?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
We can tailor
yeah,
it to whatever the builder likes, like whether they build duplexes, townhouses.
yeah,
We've got sort of the base model set up. Like we have builders that have like saunas and steam rooms and lifts and all that sort of stuff in their selections, and obviously builders that don't have that. So it's fully
yeah, yeah,
customizable, mate. Yeah, we can make it.
yeah, sweet.
We haven't touched in the commercial side with the pricing tool yet. It's more residential at this stage.
Yeah,
But that's a potential too, because we have had a little bit of interest around from builders in the commercial space too. So
yeah. I love how you came across the business idea. You just built something and then noticed a niche or way in which the users were using it. Similar kind of thing
yeah,
happened. I was working on a crane company website where there was crane calculators. So you would say that the weight and how far out it was, etc. And it would assume it's a site that was easy access and flat and all that kind of stuff, but it would give you a pricing estimate. And what they
yeah,
realized was a massive portion of the users were other crane companies. So what they realized in that,
interesting.
not to look at it as competitors, but to think about, hey, how do we collaborate with these guys? Because what happens in the crane industry is you've got X amount of cranes and certain cranes that fulfill certain jobs.
Yeah,
Either they might be out and you need it to collaborate with another crane company, or you just haven't got the right
yeah,
fit for the project. So you're always kind of working with these other, what might be perceived as competitors. They're more collaboration partners.
yeah,
So they just saw the opportunity in that as well and took it a whole new direction. I think that's business, isn't it? You just start
yeah.
something with an idea, and then sometimes if you've got your eyes open, other opportunities bob up.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
right.
remarkable.
Well, I think before I sort of started going through the process of this software development, which is completely different based on what I've learned over the last 6 years than running a building company, but that's probably another story. I pretty much had like
Yeah.
a spreadsheet that I used to use, like an Excel spreadsheet. And it was
Yeah.
super baseline, like really basic that I used to, utilize for myself to kind of pre-qualify my own clients. And I was like, it'd be
Yeah.
really cool if I could somehow get this into an app. And it kind of
Yeah.
went from that to this bloody monster. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
completely different to how I sort of envisioned it being, but for the better, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love it. And so, how much of your time is invested in the construction company, and how much into
Compare.
the software? Yeah.
It'd be 50-50, I'd say, from
Yeah.
my point of view. We have people working over both businesses. So we've got a full tech and support team in before you build. And we've
Yeah.
got a project manager, 2 site managers now, and then a team of carpenters, and a contract designer that works for the building company. as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I probably work, 50-50 roughly, I'd say.
Yeah. And so when you're building out the team and thinking about early days, what do you reckon the most critical roles were to fulfill in those early steps? How'd
I
you go about
think,
it?
probably the the that was the first initial step for me was getting off the tools. Like, I started the
Yeah.
building company as just me and an apprentice on the tools doing
Yes.
the builds. I think building out those roles, the first initial one was bringing a carpenter to take over my role so that I could sort of facilitate that off the tools role. I reckon that was the biggest step. Although, like, we've grown so much since then, I reckon that was the hardest step to take because I had
Yeah.
no build training in running a business. Through that point
Yeah.
in time, I was going through training. I've done training with 3 different business coaches now since then, which it's my strong opinion that before people start a building company, I think it should be a requirement to actually do some type of business coaching specifically for the building industry. And it would
Yeah.
probably solve a lot of these builders going broke because I think personally, if I didn't have any of that coaching to set up the systems and processes and put those roles in place, I would be bankrupt as well. You
Yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta get that expert advice, to guide you along the way. Happy to, drop a name. Who would you recommend? It sounds like you worked with a few, but who do you think is the go-to in Australia
We
for that kind of thing?
started with APB, the Association of Professional Builders. They're
Yeah,
really
okay.
good, really,
Yeah,
really good. They really set a good foundation for us, in terms of like sales processes, marketing processes, business operations, financial, financial training,
yeah,
work in progress training. Like it really is a bit of a one-stop shop for everything running a business. And I would, definitely recommend them over and over again. But yeah, completely set us up. I did some
yeah.
more training with another company, Unicorn Business Solutions. I don't believe they're actually around anymore, to be honest.
Oh,
They
okay.
were in
Yep.
test. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. And I'm currently working with a company at the moment called Juno Advisory, Ben Field from Juno Advisory. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And do you think
And
it
he's
was
helping us out with both.
beneficial swapping coaches at different levels of business, do you think? 'Cause it sounds like that first mob were good at the entry level kind of thing, but maybe you outgrew that?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, look, I think at that point in time, and I can't really tell you exactly the reason why, because it was so long ago. It was probably, it would have been 10 years ago, I reckon, once when we left
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
I can't really tell you the reason why we did at that point. Like, we were with them for a few years, and it probably just got to a point where we weren't growing, and we kind of had the system set up that I thought we needed. The
yeah,
second business coach we went to was very financial focused. They were actually more accountants. So like I probably wanted to get more of an understanding around that sort of side of things at that point in time. The who we're working with at the moment, they're actually more tailored to sort of the software side, but we kind of lean on them for both RedKem and Before You Build. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah, brilliant. No, it's so good. We had a business coach on, episode just, recently, and, he's just working, with businesses over a couple of million, I think it was his kind of threshold. Um,
Yeah.
so everyone's got their sweet spot, and who, will connect with one person might not necessarily connect with the other. How'd you go? I suppose speaking to a lot of different people over the course of the podcasts and globally as well, um, people often speak of the people problems. So
Yeah.
you can be great at your skill, but there can be a couple of things. I mean, it can be that the team members just aren't, to the level in which you want them to be, and
Yeah.
just the management side of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you find that transition, especially handing over that replacing yourself, that first hire that you mentioned was so important?
Mm.
How'd you go about checking their quality because it's hard for them to live up to your own standards. That's always the case.
Well, we'd actually worked together quite a lot before with the guy that's come in, and he's actually my project manager now. So he's sort of been with us
Yes, right.
the whole way through. So I definitely had no worries about the quality component. That's for sure. He's actually a far better carpenter than I was, so it made it pretty
That's
easy.
always there's less reason to micromanage when you get someone better than you. Then you haven't got to
That's
look over
right.
their shoulder. It's
That's
getting
exactly
hard.
right. There is a bit of a joke at the moment. I've got 3 of our guys working on my house, and I'm doing a little bit myself on the weekends, and they sort of come in on a Monday morning, just want to know what they got to fix that I did over the weekend. So
Yeah, a mate of mine, he runs a few businesses, but one of them in particular, he gets up there. It's regional, and he gets up there and always causes a disaster. So he's better off just staying away from the business sometimes. So
yeah.
interesting.
You
Yeah.
just got to know what you're good at, I suppose, and put yourself in that role.
Yeah, that's right. And so did you work on like an org chart as people might often talk about, the different roles? Did you have a vision in mind, or did you just kind of play it by ear and have a need and fill that need as it came along?
Yeah, I think earlier it was definitely less structured. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really structured now. We've got really clear set roles, expectations, laid out really well now, and that's probably going through the 3 levels of business coaches as well. So let's set that. I think early on, it is definitely much less structured. You don't really
Yeah.
know what you need at that point in time of business, until you kind of come up against problems, and then one
Yeah.
staff member goes, "Okay, so why didn't you do that?" "Oh, well, I thought that was your job," or that
Yeah.
type of thing, and that probably is as hard as what it is probably for a builder. It kind of comes with experience a little bit too, unless you've kind of got that business coach to set you up early, in which you've got to invest a lot of money in that as well. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
you've got to run a business. You've got to run a business, and you've got to be profitable. But you also need
Yeah.
to have enough money to be able to afford this type of business coaching, because it's not cheap as well. So it's a bit tricky. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a jungle all the way through. So
Yeah. And then you got obviously subbies working. Have you got a pretty reliable go-to set of subbies, or how does that work out? Because I mean, it depends on who I'm talking to. It seems I've got no data on this, but it feels to me that regionals are really struggling just to get enough workers still. But the
yeah,
cities seem to be a little bit better. I don't know how it is in
yeah.
your part of the world.
Yeah, it's not too like we've used the same trades for a long period of time. We have a set quality that we want to
Yeah.
reassure, or bring into every one of our projects. So we generally use all of the same trades. Like we've got the same
Yeah.
corporate of like plumbers, electricians, plasterers,
Yeah.
painters. We have our own carpenters employed. So roofers are the same. We just try, and if we know they do a good job, then you sort of you, there's less defective work, like less fix ups, etc. as you go along. So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, having that
that's
reliability
14
and
years too. That's 14 years of building that team as well, because it's not always like that. So
yeah. Well, no doubt you've seen a few come and go. So you try someone and it didn't really work out to the quality and standards that you would
plenty
have
of
liked. So you move on to the
plenty of
next. And
those. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, takes time to, and I suppose it's a massive aspect of hiring a builder. Obviously, trust has been eroded somewhat in the construction game simply because businesses go they fold all the time. It feels like.
Yeah, that's
So there's
right.
that aspect of it, and so the quality and the standards and so on. What do you think are the biggest things that erode trust in for a builder?
From a client to a builder.
Yeah, yeah. So when a client's shopping around and they're looking for a builder, what are those big things that destroy trust in your brand and reputation.
We definitely get asked the financial question quite a lot. Are you financially solvent? And
Yeah,
it's probably hard to actually, answer the question, because without actually showing them your books, you show them your books and you're making a lot of money, they think you're charging them too much. You show them your books and you're not making enough money, then they're like, well, you're not financially solvent. So it's a tricky one.
yeah,
My answer to that question is we get audited by the QBCC every year. So
yeah,
if we don't meet the minimum financial requirements, we don't, we can't hold a license in Queensland anymore. So that's how I answer that question. Other trust, I think reputation is always a good one. If you've got a good
yeah,
reputation, and that's always helpful. Probably because we have been around for so long, a lot of our work, people know us now. A lot of
yeah,
people in Brisbane sort of know us and sort of know that they're going to build with us, or know of someone who's built with us, or um,
yeah,
sort of down that line. So, I think it's just building a good reputation. But again, that comes with, years and years of doing it as well. So,
yeah. Getting those recommendations, referrals. It's definitely, if you're going to build, it's a massive investment, and so you're going to ask everybody who's built before, and what
that's
their
it.
experiences were, and who you'd recommend. Definitely, for sure, the
Mm,
word of mouth is a massive thing.
yeah.
I was in the car park, and just overheard a tradie of some description talking to one of the tenants from that building, and he was asking we're in Geelong, and he was saying, who's the best builders in Geelong? I don't know what his project was, but he was just rattling off these names that were no good and what he felt were good companies. And that's happening
Yeah.
for every business. We just don't know precisely precisely
Yeah.
what things are being shared, but the quality of your work is being shared, and the experience, the client experience, because it might be a great quality project, but if your team members are a bit gruff and created a bad
Yeah.
taste in someone's mouth, that's going
That's
to
right.
lost you that massively. So obviously you're doing things
My
right to
parents,
build out your team for many
yeah.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my parents always said, they had a building company that retired now, living the dream. But they always said, if you do a good job, they'll tell one person. You do a bad one, they'll tell 10. And that always
True.
sort of stuck in my mind. So,
Yeah. It's the same as Google reviews. I mean, we all want positive Google reviews, and with a gentle nudge, people will typically do it if you've done a great service. I always
yeah,
tell
that's
clients
right.
this, just to give them a gentle prompt, because
Yeah.
they want to do that. They just need that gentle reminder, but they don't need a reminder
Yeah,
for a negative
absolutely.
review. That
Yeah, that's right.
heightened
Exactly.
emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Absolutely.
so,
Absolutely.
just like what your parents are saying. No, it's
Yeah.
been brilliant. I'm really keen to find out more about your B for you build, the
Yeah.
software, because there's definitely some clients. Um, maybe now is a good time to tell people how they can find out more about that, and obviously people in
Yeah,
Brisbane.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So the website, and this is for both homeowners and builders, is
yeah,
before you build, letter B, number 4, letter U, build.com.au. There's a builder side and a homeowner side. So essentially, if
sure.
you're a homeowner, you can go in there and select the number of estimates that you want and just pay a one-off fee to basically purchase those estimates. It's a good idea, I always say, to try at least 3. So like if you go, put your dream in and go, I want this architectural palace, and figure out what that costs and kind of work your way back to where you sort of want to be.
Yeah,
That's generally the best approach. And then from a builder's perspective, we've got a builder's part on the site too, that they can basically contact us. We actually do a 30-day free trial for builders, just so that
yeah,
they've got time to try it out, make sure it's going to work for them, get it embedded onto their website, which is super easy. It's just a line of code that just plugs straight in, and
yeah,
start seeing the benefits. We don't we do it's a monthly subscription for builders. We don't do a locked in contract, because once you are getting leads qualified based on budget, that's, potentially more profitable than the projects you're doing. It's pretty hard to turn off. So
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. And, yeah, I had another guy on from the States having a similar kind of, philosophy about creating that lead capture. He was doing feasibility for land over there.
oh yeah,
So you plug in your lot and it'll tell you the slope and the
yeah,
risks.
sure,
So over there, I mean, here we'd have flood zones, bushfire,
that's right. Yeah,
other overlays. They have similar
we
sort
have
of
all
thing.
of that stuff attached to the tool as well. So
Oh, that's in there.
um,
Yeah, sweet. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So basically, if you're in a bushfire prone area, for example, your build cost would be slightly more expensive because different materials would have to be used. So that is all calculated into the costs of this tool. Same with like
Yeah, I can
marine
imagine.
proximity. If you're within 100 meters of breaking surf, clearly your building materials are going to be completely different than if you're not. We've got flood overlay stuff. We got like if your home performance, if you're building a passive house or more energy efficient or just standard performance, we can calculate the cost of all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it sounds really sophisticated. So I'd encourage anyone who's a builder to jump on, at least have a little look and get in contact and find out more about that, how it might work for them. Been a great episode. Really enjoyed the time has flown by, but I always like to make sure we cover everything off. So is there like a question I should have asked you that I didn't, and what would be the answer to that?
Oh my god, that is a good question.
Lovely, Barrett.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I think we covered a lot in a pretty short period of time. So yeah, not anything
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's good. It means we've covered everything
But
off. And obviously, if people are looking to build in, what location? What's your kind of boundaries of where you build?
so we're in Brisbane, so we sort of work within about a 12K radius of the city, and then all of the Bayside, so like Wynnum, Manly, etc. Yeah, that's
Okay.
our sort of
Yeah.
zones.
Yeah.
So, but the pricing tool is Australia wide. So
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, I'll make sure to put the links to the websites and so on in the show notes, and so people can easily click on those and find out more. Thanks so much, Jared. It's been an excellent episode.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Built, Trusted, Chosen. Brought to you by Uplift 360. Visit uplift360.com.au.